Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to give a little bit of tough love. This is tough love I've had to give to skinny underweight clients. It's tough love I've had to give to people in training groups, to people in the comments section all the time. And that is the reason you are not getting stronger is because you are not gaining weight, all right? Outside of the first 5 to 6 weeks of lifting heavy or changing the way that you lift heavy, you don't gain strength other than through hypertrophy. Okay, that's it. That's it. To get stronger, you have to get bigger. Period. Period. And again, it doesn't matter that there's some hypothetical guy who lifts some crazy weight on one lift at a certain height and body weight or whatever. Okay, that's not you. And that guy still had to gain muscle to get stronger. Even these genetic freaks like this, who are rare, and many of them are not as strong as people proclaim them to be, okay, they are still bound by the basic laws of physics and biology. They just gain more strength per unit of muscle. Okay, that's it. And even then, that's subject to a lot of controversy, right? Because they're extremely rare. So that doesn't apply to you. And I'm sorry that so many young men out there have been told that they can gain all this muscle by con artists, and there are plenty of them on YouTube that have told them, oh, you can make just these purely lean gains. Well, what they don't tell them is that's an exceptionally slow process, and the process is so slow that, you know, when people say stuff like, well, you know, the time's going to pass anyways, and then I won't have to bulk and cut, until they realize 5 years from now, they're still not going to be big. Sure, they can make some gains. You can make lean gains, guys. But you might want to wait till you're pretty advanced to try that when you have most of your size already. Because here's what's going to happen. It's going to take you 5 years to do what you could have done in 5 months. Sure, the time's going to pass anyways, but wouldn't you just rather have the 5 years be done with a single bulk and cut? Right? You could bulk for 5 or 6 months and then cut for 10 weeks and reach the same muscle mass that you're going to gain lean bulking in that 5 years. At the 1 year mark, you're going to be even bigger if you do it that way. So it's ludicrous, and I'm not saying it can't be done, but lean gains have very, very little margin for error. And the problem is that, keeping in mind, they are very slow. You know, when we're talking lean gains like that, you might be talking about 1 or 2 pounds per year. So when you get guys who think that they're going to make these slow lean gains like that when they're still small and skinny, guess what? Guess what's going to happen? 1 year of muscle growth in 1 pound of muscle growth in a year? Okay, if that's what you end up doing, you do understand that's only going to be 5 pounds on your bench press. It's only going to be like 10 pounds on your squat. That's what you're going to gain for the whole year. You're not going to be PRing every week. You're not even going to be PRing every month. And guys are like, well, what about some recomposition? Well, fatter guys can get away with a little better recomp. But most of the guys who I see struggling with this are skinny. They think they're fat. I have clients like that who they're bulking a little bit. Well, I'm getting a little bit of a belly, and they don't. They're training shirtless. They are at a healthy athletic body fat. Right? But in their mind, well, because they don't have ripped abs, they must be fat. And that's what holds people back. That's the problem. That is the sort of mentality that creates the problem. Guys aren't gaining weight, or they're not disciplined enough to eat enough to gain weight. And what I mean is a slow, steady bulk requires discipline. Actually, a dirty bulk doesn't require that much discipline. And here's why. Anybody can gain weight. Hey, if you live in the Western world, in any first world country, we have access to unlimited calories. Nobody has problems getting morbidly obese in these countries. It's very easy to do. It requires minimal effort. It's because everyone eats huge amounts of hyper-palatable, calorically dense foods that you can get fat easy. Doing it controlled and saying, hey, I'm going to gain 1 pound or 2 pounds a month. Okay, well, that's requires a little more discipline. But if you don't consistently put in the effort and eat the food, you're not going to make the gains. You're not going to get bigger. You're not going to get stronger. And I've had this with so many clients over the years. And it's just definitely not a majority. It's a small percentage. But because I've had so many clients, I've had to deal with this, with 7 or 8 clients who they're not making progress and they're not eating. They're not eating. And kind of my point to them is when that happens, hey, I wrote your programming. I can't force you to eat. I can only prescribe stuff for you. You have to follow through with it. And you can't blame my programming because I have people on similar programming who make amazing continual progress. But if you're not eating enough and you're skinny, right, and you're skinny, then it's your own fault. You're not eating. And whether it's a mental illness you have, a body image issue, whether you've been lied to, whether it's lack of discipline, because anyone who says they can't eat enough, well, you can find more palatable, calorically dense food. It exists. You don't even necessarily have to turn to junk food for that. Honestly, there's plenty of fairly healthy foods that you can easily gain weight on, right? Healthy doesn't automatically mean you can't get fat on it or gain weight on it, right? We're just looking at nutrient content. The quality of the nutrition. But, nut butter is a perfect example. Right? Peanut butter, whole fat dairy. That stuff makes it real easy. And it's the lack of discipline. You can come in and train all you want, but if you're skinny and you're underweight, and you're not using anything, just don't expect serious strength gains unless you're gaining muscle. And don't expect serious muscle gains unless the scale is going up. Again, it's one thing for someone to recomposition who's fat. But fat doesn't mean what these skinny kids think fat means. I'm talking up over 20% body fat. Okay? And no, that handheld scale that you guys use doesn't tell you that. That handheld scale could tell you you're 28% body fat when you have shredded abs. They don't work. There is no science behind them. There is no scientific method by which they can even measure body fat. It's make-believe. It runs a current that spits out a number that is not necessarily related at all to your body fat. Okay? They're not scientifically supported. It's a gimmick. So quit thinking you're fat because you've been using one of these devices. Most of these guys are skinny. And I've seen it over and over and over. They're just not eating enough. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.